Jay Rosehill, our buddy from the Leafs Nation. What are you doing, buddy?
Man, you guys are kind to me every time. I don't know why I don't come on weekly. Legend, that's
You gotta be nice to you.
loose use around the barn burner camp, but I'll take her.
Yeah. I guess a couple before we get into it, you went to Italy. How was it?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Like they got it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Figured out, man.
They
like,
do.
History, architecture, food, people, scenery, things. Oh my God. It was unreal. All I did was eat and drink and look at stuff and get my mind blown by all kinds of things. That St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, you could fit the Calgary Tower inside of it, and it's a church.
It's insane. Yeah.
It's like, what are we talking about? It's just they don't do it like that anymore. The dome's got to get torn down after 40 years. That thing's, oh God, they built it to last.
You mean not the same? Not the same kind of
No,
aura when you go in the dome?
The lights still work in the Basilica. Yeah, I recall that.
Different concrete, I think.
It's gold. That's why it's still standing.
Well, Noodles goes every summer. You just went.
Do you get pickpocketed like I did, Jay, or you keep all your belongings?
No, my wife was pretty concerned about it, though. Like stealing everything out of you. Yeah. It's a thing, but you get it on off the trains and whatnot. You just kind of look around the last minute when the doors are closing, but I didn't feel threatened.
There you go.
Great country.
Well, it's a big game day today, and I thought let's get in some, let's get right to it. Some expertise. I texted Jay yesterday. I come on the show. Yeah, I'd love to come on the show. What's that? Anything in particular, or what do we want to talk about?
Well, a huge game.
Well, the Flames play the Leafs. We'll probably get it. Oh, yes, the ice hockey. Yeah, okay. So I know you've had this one circled on your calendar for a long time.
I thought we were going to ask him about Bieber. What the hell are we doing here?
Yeah,
he starts tonight.
That is true. Like no rest for the wicked. Hey, I felt like I was up late last night, and the people on the East Coast watching, they had a real late one, but thrown right back into it. I love it, man. They moved the Leafs game, Flames game a little bit earlier, so we sit down, watch that, roll it right into the Jays. So nice little game of sports tonight. Actually,
I guess it was Dregs we were talking to last week. He was saying this whole Blue Jays thing is a godsend for the Maple Leafs and how their season has started. Sure. And I profess I have not paid that close attention, but going and looking at 4-4-1, and the goaltending could be better. I know the goalie kind of came out and ripped his team kind of in the media, and there's been some injuries, and it hasn't been super smooth for the Leafs so far.
No, it hasn't. It's historically their October is not very good. They're at the same record that they were last year, and they won the division. So people that think the sky's falling and are losing their minds, it's like, let's have a little pump of the brakes here. This is what they do, but it's Toronto, and when expectations are high and people are trying to see if this team is better without Mitch Marner, and it's different. And we've said since the summertime that this will probably be a process of growing and figuring out what this looks like and how you're at your best. So the fact that they didn't come out of the gates blazing out of game 1, 2, 3, it didn't surprise me and didn't concern me that much. And half the nation, the Leafs nation, thinks that the regular season doesn't matter anyway, which a lot of times it doesn't. So subpar, kind of some storylines and some things that certainly could be better, but I'm not one of the ones that's freaking out.
Yeah, it seems like the record's fine. It's more just that when you've overhauled a roster that everyone 3 years ago said was way too skilled and soft and could have got it done in the playoffs, and then you move a lot of assets to bring in a lot of veterans and a lot of grit, it just feels like they haven't played that way at all. Like it feels like it's been a pretty pedestrian start for a group that's supposed to be more physical and engaged. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's been my knock, we've seen them lose in the playoffs, and why was that? It's just like the style of hockey wasn't really conducive to how the team was built, and all of their strengths get taken away, and there's no time or space, and you're not playing the way that you could play to get yourself those regular season wins seems to be kind of the consensus. And it looks like the brass thought the same thing, and they wanted to construct this team a little bit differently rather than hand over the bag to Mitch Marner. So here we are. They are the biggest team in the league, but they don't play like it. To me, it's an intensity issue. And again, I haven't been freaking out about their start, but when they're not doing well and when they're losing, it's like nobody's willing to go out of their comfort zone to go and, impose their will on the game and invoke change by force. It's it's always like, well, I'm just going to wait around for my opportunity. And then the horn goes and they just kind of have a blank look on their face and they get off the ice. And I think that's kind of been a theme with them. And it's the frustrating part of it that I hope they figure out and change.
They could use a young Jay Rosehill.
Yeah, they could.
Something Brian Burke size. So there's a shit disturber we need. There's a guy that's going to run someone through the end boards if we're down 2 and the boys are sleepy. Like, never mind the coffee on the bench. Let's get a young Rosehill.
Well, Jake McCabe stepped up last game. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I've been waiting for. You know, a guy comes into your house and through that middle of the ice trying to, you know, rip one home, and usually that guy goes untouched. And here comes Jake McCabe, and I mean, you see him at the end of the interview, you know, he's this broad frame packed with muscle. He's a man. And we know that in this league, there's a lot of boys in this league. And you lower your shoulder on that kid and make him do a goddamn backflip into the third deck. And then guess what? Oh, here comes Alex Tuck. I don't accept that. I won't let that happen. He comes in and just gets raggedy and by the guy. Like, he almost put his head in the second row. Yeah. And guess what? You're left with a power play because he comes in there and you know, decides to instigate that issue, which, you know, there's things that can be done in this league that are still legal. You can be physical, you can intimidate, you can have a presence, you can put players on their heels and teams on their heels mentally, saying, I don't think I'm willing to go to those lengths tonight. And I think you can benefit from it. And Jake McCabe was a great example. And I think the Leafs need to do a little bit more of that, because you see the teams that are having success in this league, they're built that way and they do that thing on a day-to-day basis.
Stolarz has kind of been the guy. Woll left with the personal issue. It sounds like he's close to returning, that being what it is. Anthony Stolarz last year was kind of a revelation. This year, it's been a tough start. 3.31 goals against, .885 save percentage. How much, and like I said, he kind of came out and was vocal about his displeasure with how the team was playing in front of him. I guess, what do you think about that when a goalie or any player kind of airs their dirty laundry or how they're feeling? I feel it's hypocritical. We always say guys don't say anything, and then they actually do, and we rip them for it. So I never dig that. But it's not been the start. At least the form he's shown has not been that similar to a year ago.
Yeah, I loved what he, like, there's two sides of it, right? There's a side of me that's like, what's it like in that locker room? And then what's it like doing a show and covering the Leafs from the media side of thing? And from the media side of it, I love it. Like, we say that all the time. We want someone to acknowledge the fact that this isn't good enough and that, you know, Nylander's dogging it on the way back or the effort subpar and the same stuff happens over and over and nobody rectifies it. Like, I love that Stolarz stood up and said that and felt like he earned the right to do it. Like, in the past year, he has had the best save percentage in the entire league. You think that he's got a leg to stand on to say that stuff, to criticize, because I feel like sometimes the team needs a wake-up call and needs someone to say something. It's the same ring around the rosy every day, like whether they get blown out in Game 7 or they win a regular season Game 6-1, they have the same interview, same look on their face, same mentality, same type of attitude, it seems like. And finally, a guy says what everyone else is thinking. So I loved it. But from the other side of it, in the locker room, you know, they had a team meeting right after that and they addressed it. And I'm sure one of the main points was, hey, Stoli, if you feel that way, you know, say it inside of these walls to us. And we're all about you speaking your mind and saying what you think. And we can handle that. But why would you say it to the media? That does nothing good for us. And it certainly made a big firestorm. So I see both sides of it. But when you're hot under the collar and you get a microphone in your face, sometimes you say things that you maybe wish you didn't. And then the other side of it is, when you do that, everyone's watching with a magnifying glass your performance after that. Are you going to back it up? And I don't think he's been terrible by any stretch, and I fully have faith in his abilities, but they haven't played that well in front of him, and his performance on paper doesn't look fantastic afterwards, which just leaves you ripe for criticism after doing what he did, right?
How much of that was involved with just a lot of contact that he took in the crease, and maybe the lack of a willingness from this huge physical, not a puck moving D group anymore, but like a big mean group, not really dealing with it? Like, that's the one thing Stolarz should be comfy with, is like, okay, we got 6'5" Carlo. We've got OEL, who's a big man. Benoit's tough. You bring in Tanev. You've got McCabe. Like, these aren't water bugs back there. Why am I getting run into all the time and no one's doing anything? Like,
100%. Okay. And people, like, he got knocked out of the playoffs last year because a guy came in and knocked him, you know, and would that have been the difference? And, they brought the team to game 7 with Joseph Woll in there, and that happened in game 1. Would it have been different? Like, maybe. So there's a history of it happening. And like you say, these are the big bad Leafs now. Well, are you going to play like it? Are you going to protect me? Are you going to set a precedent that nobody comes into our goalie's crease and bangs him around, and there's going to be consequences? And, that specific incident that night was on Carlo. Just stood there and looked at the guy as he buries into Stoli, a 6'4", 225-pound guy, falls on him. Like, that doesn't exactly feel good. Why isn't anyone doing anything about it? I echo his frustration. Like, why wouldn't the first thing you do is just jump on that guy? I was protecting the power play. What's more important, getting a 2-minute power play or having the league on notice that you don't put up with shit anymore and that you've got the personnel in there to rectify the problems of the past, where teams don't have respect for you, teams ragdoll you, you have no response for it, you don't really take pride in your team or your goalie. Like, that apparently has been rectified. But when you see it still happening, and like you say, this big team isn't doing anything about it, that's a mentality to me. And I think their mentality has to change, and I think their intensity level has to change, and some of the guys have to come out of their comfort zone to do what needs to be done. Again, it matters most in the playoffs, but you don't just flip a switch in April and become this new team. You got to start putting the building blocks in place right now.
Willie Nylander is still there. He was injured, I guess, didn't play in that game on Saturday. Looks like he'll play tonight. So obviously he's very dynamic. He's one of the best players in the league, and we know what Austin Matthews is. And we had the conversation, and we've just had it for years, about the captaincy here. It's Michael Backlund. I mean, he's not a vocal guy. He's not going to fight anybody. He's not going to run anyone through the boards, but he's respected in the room. Tavares was captain for a long time. He let his play do the talking. He's very kind of quiet and, a mumbler. And now Stoic, Austin Matthews is the captain, and I don't know where he would fall in there. I guess you played, I guess, different captains you've played for. What do you need to be? And to be the captain of the Leafs, it is what it is, right? That's a prestigious honor. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on Matthews as captain, or what is it? What is the importance of having either a vocal or physical captain, or how does that role? How's it best defined the way you see it?
Yeah, and a little bit of everything. Like, some guys lead by example, some guys are vocal, some guys are rah, some guys are take individuals under their wing in one way or another, or come let some rookie live at their house. Like, there's a million different things you can do. I kind of like a little bit of everything. Obviously, it's kind of not really fair to ask for that, because not everyone's well-rounded and be able to cover all the bases. But, with Austin Matthews in particular, I think there's a sentiment that you'd like to see a little more emotion or a little more passion. We were talking about, Nathan McKinnon the other night. Game's over, lost, horn's gone, and he is just frothing at the mouth. With the value that he is to his team. He takes his gloves off and he's throwing bare hands at a guy, and it's not fighting, but like, that is the result of having passion and being willing to do anything and just desperately wanting to win. And I think if there was a knock on Austin Matthews, that, of course, you mentioned his prowess with scoring goals and his trophies, and he's got a Hart Trophy and 3 Rocket Richards, and that's great. And he's a great player, but if there was a knock, it would be, I think this market wants to see some more passion out of him and some more intensity. I swear I've used those 2 words 100 times the past week and a half, but it just seems kind of flat sometimes. And he seems to just kind of wait for his opportunities and see what happens. And it's almost like, hope we win tonight and maybe we will. And it's just like, that's not Nathan McKinnon. And that's not those leaders who lead with, this furious energy that sets the tone that everybody else has to fall in line. Because if that guy's doing it, well, how the hell can I get away with not doing it? I'd like to see a little bit of more of that out of Austin Matthews, and I don't think I'm alone in that.
Yeah,
it feels like those guys are so amazing, and you're just like, that's a captain. Like, you could brand him on his chest.
Yeah,
there aren't 32 of them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they've been different. You think about Nick Lidstrom was not a raw guy, but I don't think anyone had a problem when he was the captain after Yzerman, took the C off or any of that. You can kind of cherry pick it. If the team's good and it's going well, that guy's a leader.
Quiet
the
leader.
Team responds around him. And then if it's not going well, now, and it's not because you criticized him, but he was heavily criticized. And that's, of course, Mitch Marner. Not directly replaced. It's good to do it by committee. Team takes on a new shape and all of that, and he seems to be doing well in Vegas. But when you sit down to watch the Leafs, how obvious is it that he's not on the ice? Because he was a dynamic player, both good and bad. He would do things that would make you go crazy, and he would do things that make you come out of your seat. Now it's only been whatever it is, 9 games, but is it very visible that the Marner is no longer on the ice?
You notice it. I mean, he had a lot of puck touches. He would play 20 minutes in a night, and he was well-rounded in the sense that he's killing penalties too, and doing things defensively at times. Again, people think that the fans or the Leafs thought that, Nicholas Waugh and Dakota Joshua are better than a Mitch Marner. Like, that's not really the case. We have been banging our head against the wall with this core 4 for years, and we have been left wanting every single year for the same reason. You get to the playoffs and you play the Florida Panthers or the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Boston Bruins in their prime, and you have too much of the same player. You have the Matthews and the Nylander and the Marner and the Tavares, and it's like you don't have the pieces that they have that get them over the finish line. So now you're at a crossroads. Do you give this guy $13 million and just, keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting it for it to work one day? They had enough cracks at it. It's not like they did it for 2 seasons and then said, screw it, let's bail on this plan. It was years and years and years and years of this. So I think, and with some of the fans kind of turning on some of his antics and his no look backhand sauce while I avoid a body check, it was shit or get off the pot. And $13 million, you're basically saying that this is the formula we're going to continue ahead for another decade. It was time for a change, and I think Tree Living did the best he could with the situation that he was in to try to make this team more playoff ready and playoff compliant, and the ability to beat those heavy teams in the playoffs in a 7-game series, because they just kept coming up short with it.
Yeah. Well, and he always talked about it here. Like, there's a team that can get you in the playoffs, but the type of teams that wins in the playoffs isn't always your division winners with high skill. There has to be this element of sacrifice and grit and physicality and blocking shots. It's a 7-game war. You're lining up across the faceoff dot from the same guy for 2 weeks. Like, you got to want to lose more than that guy. I get it. What are they shopping for this year? Like, where are the holes on this team? Is it a puck-moving defenseman? Is it another center? I mean, there's obviously a lot of buzz around Nazem here. Boy, he doesn't feel like the guys you just described. He runs hot and he burns to win.
Big time. I feel like, at center, if you could put like a Kadri, another centerman, especially one with some tenacity and some grit and some aggression, I feel like what it would do to that lineup up front, it would just settle everything in its place, and you'd step back and look at the forward group and go, my God, is that deep? Like, you might have Jonathan Tavares at 3C with some heavy hitters around him, and, a Scott Lawton, or with a Domi maybe even on the 4th line, and Bobby McMahon's very capable. He's fast. His shots like, all of a sudden you're like, well, this might be one of those teams where you have so much depth that the other opponent can't even line match against you, because it's like they just keep coming in wave after wave after wave. And that's the idea. And I do think a center would really make that happen. Problem is, the cupboards are pretty empty, right? We don't have a lot of draft picks. I mean, Easton Cowan is showing a lot of promise. You got Ben Danford, a defenseman coming, looking really good in camp. I don't think they want to part with him. Like, you're not selling the farm this year. So the realistic nature of getting a real game changer on roster, I don't really know if that's possible. But a Nazem Kadri, a guy, he basically got moved out of town because he ran a little too hot. He kept coming out of the gates in the playoffs, getting suspended because he was too horny. I think now what we've seen, I think we take a little bit of that on the roster.
Yeah, he was drafted there. He's from there. We find out again. It's 13. He's got 13-team no trade. I think probably Toronto is on his fly list. I think he would be fine going there.
I love going home.
It would seem like he would be exactly what they would want. The GM is a fan because we know he signed him. It just it's the one that just seems so clear. But to your point, the cap is one thing, but they've spent so many draft picks. If that's what Craig Conroy would want in a deal, it would have to be some young players.
Yeah.
So it would have to be.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not a cap problem, and it has been for the Leafs for so long. They've been $25 within the cap at times before, and they're real thin margins. And now they've got the cap space, and I just don't know if they can. Again, if they can make it happen. Like, I don't think you guys on the Calgary side of things are just going to empty the shelves for nothing, right? You want something in return that's, when that building's done and when everyone's hitting their prime, you're going to want to be making hay at that point in time, and just giving away all your players isn't going to happen. So that's my one thing is, like, this would be great, and yeah, the fit works, and there's so many things that line up, but Calgary's not giving you Nazem Kadri for nothing.
Do they need a puck mover, or is this D good enough? Because they're certainly tough enough. I just, are there enough guys that can hustle back, get a puck, find a winger on the tape to get back into the other end?
Well, I think it's supposed to be good enough. I mean, look what you give up for Carlo, and it's supposed to be a well-rounded D, and it is. I think their one knock is that they're aging, but when everyone's healthy and you see them play, and this year hasn't been a very good example of that. There's been holes, and there's been defensive breakdowns and lanes and players missed, and that's on the forwards as well. But defensively, they aren't the way they were last year. It's more of like several years ago with, we saw 4-on-1 the other night with Jersey. Like, what are we doing, guys? But from last year, if you watch the way they pull the puck off the wall and use each other and are able to make that play, they get out of their zone pretty damn well and get into the forwards' hands. And again, to get a puck moving defenseman that's going to, be a game changer. Like, how are you doing that? You just gave up Minton in a first rounder for Carlo. So you've kind of made the bed already. And this is supposed to be the group to get it done. So I'm not holding my breath for some big stud puck moving defenseman to come in and round off this decor.
You sort of said, this doesn't feel like a burn the boats year. Like, you can't be giving up futures. I wonder, because it's like Shanahan's out, Pelly's in, press conference was very clear. We're here to win, nothing else. If we don't win, it's a failure. Like, would you really worry about, in 4 years, this guy might be a top 2-line player? That seems to me where Treliving's going to be. Am I willing to part with my best prospect to get a piece to help me win this year? Because I don't know how long the leash is for him if this doesn't go well. Yeah, I think they're a playoff team, but if they're not, I don't think they're going to be afraid to say, see ya.
Yeah, and I mean, you get closer, you get past Christmas, and you start nearing that trade deadline. That might be the sentiment. And I mean, general managers sometimes are going, well, fuck it, I'm not going to be here in 5 years if this doesn't work. So I'm going to make sure that it works, or take my best swing. So that might be something on the docket, like a Ben Danford, but again, like, what does that get you? It's I don't think they're going to move Easton Cowan. Like, you try Easton Cowan in his first NHL game, and he's everywhere. He's buzzing. He's well-rounded. He's got the grit. He's finishing every hit. He's got skill. He's got vision and hockey IQ. Like, I think that he could potentially help the team now. It's not like it's unheard of to have a 20-year-old with that type of pedigree, be valuable in the team. I think the forward group is better with him on the lineup than with him out. So are you moving him it depends on the deal, right? At the end of the day, I think if Treliving can make the team better, he will, but it's too early to say that, to see who they are. I think they're still figuring out who they are and what they're supposed to be. And Berube is still trying to get his claws into the team and have them understand what it looks like when you're doing the things right.
You're an Alberta guy. You of course cover the Leafs, but you pay attention obviously closely to what's going on here. What's your take on the Flames here through the first coming up month? There's been an 8-game losing streak.
They have one regulation win in 10 games.
Yeah, not
one in a row.
Not pretty, right? But if you look at what they did last year, like, they go on a run and damn near get into the playoffs. I mean, with 96 points, was it? I mean, many other years that gets you in, and nobody really saw that. Like, at Christmas, were you guys saying this is what
we're saying they're going to sell the deadline?
Yeah. Right. So and it's kind of unfortunate that you didn't, because it's like, well, we don't even think we want to get to that point if we're not going to get in. Like, you might as well. And it's a handful of games. I think that team is better than they look. Like, we had Stajan on this morning, and he's talking about Uyghur and Anderson and Coleman and Huberdeau and Kadri and Wolf. It's like, Jesus, you got some pieces there to be better than you are. So I think that this gross start to the season is probably going to be behind you before long. I mean, people are talking Tank and McKenna in early mid October.
Some are, yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine how gross that would be? And I don't think they're going to go that direction. I think they're going to get better. And you see that, the beating they laid on the New York Rangers there. I think there's more there for them to get on track. And I don't want them to start finding their footing tonight against the Leafs or anything, but I think they're a better team than what they've showed at the beginning. Like those guys aren't going to quit. Like people are always like, well, why don't you just tank and get like being -3 every single night and having the turnovers be on your shoulders. And like, it's just, those guys don't get to the NHL by having that mentality of, let's roll over and get McKenna. Like not a chance. I think the fight's still going to be in that group, but I think they're better than they've showed so far this season.
I've always thought the tank was the GM's job. The coaches and players, I don't care who it is, you got to go try to win. And so the question is like, okay, Craig, you can help steer this a little, or you just, as Kent Wilson said, let gravity take its course. If they're bad enough, all the signals are clear at the trade deadline. If you wanted to get ahead of it, that's a different conversation.
And I think the only way for the Leafs to get something, like, again, we always say that no one gives you something for nothing, right? Like it has to benefit the team and make them better. But if you get a position, down the road of the season, if it does keep going this way, where a guy's going, well, maybe I don't have to get the best part of this trade to pull the trigger on it, because the more we slide, the more it might benefit my organization here. And you maybe unload a Kadri for less than you would have a year or two before. Hard to say, but again, from the Leafs perspective, you're going to have to take advantage of someone in that way if you're going to get a game changer, because you don't have enough to push it over the finish line and make the team feel like they won the deal.
You had a nasty wakeboarding injury this summer.
What?
How is the rehab going? How are we doing?
It's going averagely, to be honest. It's like,
paint us a picture before we get to rehab. Like, walk us through this treacherous day.
He's greased up, the 6-pack's shining.
Yeah.
Hair's oil on me. I turned 40 this summer, and I grew up wakeboarding. It was kind of a thing we did in the summer, me and my brother, and it can still do this flip, right? And you land a flip, and I feel like, when am I going to stop doing this thing in the summer? And I said, well, when you're 40 years old, go do the flip, and good for you. You said you could do it. And that was the end of the story. So I'm at this, my buddy's lake this time, and he goes, let's throw the wakeboard in the boat. And I said, screw it. The kids will surf and everything. And then he goes, screw it. We'll just throw it in anyways. It's a beautiful night. The kids are done their surfing. There's just a couple of close friends on the boat. Okay, screw it. We'll go for a wakeboard. So I go and I'm doing it, and I'm going to go do this flip, and I cut into the wake, and I literally say to myself, because I've been doing it since I was 12, and I go, well, last time, Rosie, and I chuck this flip, and I kind of land it, but with some awkward balance, and I reach my hand. Those wakes on those boats are 6 feet tall and these big monsters, and I put my backhand into the wake to kind of balance myself. It pulls it back and tears my pectoral tendon right off the bone. So I get in the boat, and I go, my pecs all piled up in my tit there, and oh my God. And that was the end of the golf season, end of the good. So I knew it was going to be my last time doing that thing, and it definitely was. I won't be
Rosie,
doing
you
that
can't
again.
go out that way. You can't go out that way. You got to end on a high note.
Part of me thinks that. Part of me is like, go say F you to your body. But no, the body's barking back these days. 40's a real thing. I think one way or the other, that was the last time I was flipping around on a wakeboard like I'm 20.
That torso modeling career too takes a hit. That's too bad with that pec relocated. Shame. All those endorsements from those body wash commercials are going to go out the window.
That's the thing. I got it repaired. I had surgery, so I don't have the disfiguration. It's all vein. It's all about the looks, right?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
I was gonna leave it. I wanted to leave it, but I couldn't do anything. You have no pec, so I reattached it. Now I'm going through the rehab process, which it's shitty, man. It's a lot. I got these pinches and pains, and I don't know. I see the surgeon this week. I just really appreciate your guys' concern. My goodness, this got
very concerned. And there's certain things that a guy does that you're maybe better with one hand than the other.
Right.
Was that affected at all? Are you more ambidextrous? Or
it's I like to throw hands both on when I'd scrap back in the day, but I am a strictly right hand man when it comes to behind closed doors. So and it's my left. It was my left, so I'm okay. And there's
no more strangers.
The stranger felt stranger for sure, but that's not my go-to anyway.
Love you, pal. I want to book you in for our Christmas show. We don't have the date yet, but I feel like we need to give you months' notice to have you here. So
just Uber me back and forth. You guys got the cash. I hear the ad reads. Give me an Uber home, and I'm there, boys.
Yeah. We got legal counsel on side this year too, so you can seek advice before speaking if need be.
We'll all be good.
Thanks,
buddy.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy.
Good to see you. There he is.
Oh boy.
Jay Rosehill. You can catch him with Nick Alberga. Hey, buddies. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.